Hello, I'm Suzy McCullough from the Riverside Library, and I wanted to tell you about one of my favorite books. I discovered it in 1975 when it was published by Kenneth Krakow here in Macon. It's called Georgia Place Names, and I found out how the book came to be. Mr. Krakow was from up north. He had been down here only a few years. He was fascinated with all of the place names in Georgia. He started collecting them on his own. He was the head of food services at Mercer, but he also wanted to take classes. He worked on his master's degree, and he took Georgia history with Dr. Spencer King. And so he made his collection of origin of place names in Georgia into his master's thesis. Dr. King thought it was so important that it should be published. So Mr. Krakow published it himself. And I bought a copy in 1975 and have used it immensely ever since. It tells the names of cities, counties, towns, mountains, rivers, creeks, crossroads. Whenever I go to ride, I always have a copy of this with me because inevitably I will see an unusual name on a sign and I will think, where did that name come from? And then in 1994, the second edition came out, and I bought copies of that too. Then, what to my surprise, recently I discovered that this whole book has been put online, accessible to everyone. And you can see it here. His two sons, Greg and Ken, digitized the whole book and put it online. And you can see at the bottom the alphabet, A to Z. You can click on the letter beginning the name of the word that you want to look it up. For instance, Bibb County, you would click on B, and you would see all of the pages that include words that start with B. Now, this is just a wonderful thing because you certainly cannot go out and buy this book. It's not in print anymore. It's available online for very high prices. And I even saw through Bookfinder on Amazon, they said $1,594 for a copy of this book. If you have one, you better hold on to it. I looked at other sources online and it went anywhere from $50 up to $300. If you ever see a copy of this at the Friends of the Library old book sale, you better grab it and hold on to it. You've got something there. I have used mine so much, and you can see by this raggedy condition of my first copy that it's been well used. Now, don't you sit around wondering sometime about where the name of the crossroads called Box Ankle came from? When you're going out near Thomaston and Talbotton and that way, I can tell you, if you had this book, you could look it up yourself. It says, it is said that some men were here watching a cockfight, and two men began fighting. One knocked the other over a wooden box and broke his ankle. This is said to be how the community got its name. See? All right, let's look at another one. I know everybody's heard of Flowery Branch. I think there's a lot going on up there. Flowery Branch had been called Madagascar by the Cherokee Indians, and that word means Blossom Creek in reference to the floral beauty along its banks. You know, so many names in Georgia, and especially the rivers and creeks, are named for the Native Americans who were here first. What about Po Bitty Crossroad? Have you ever gone past there? Now, that's the one that's east of Talbotton. And one legend relates how a mother hen here had a brood of little biddies, and one of them ran out in the road and got killed by a horse, which prompted the exclamation, "That's the end of that Po Bitty." What about Rising Fawn? That's an unusual name for a town, isn't it? That's another one that is a translation of an Indian word that many of the male Indians had called "he who is arising," but it got changed into "rising foam." Now, what about this one? Well, Tybee. Tybee in the early days, the name means salt in the Yuchi Indian language. I saw a Georgia quiz the other day, and it said, which Georgia coastal island is named for salt? So if you had read this book, you would know what it was, and you could look it up. Now, here's one that's nearby, Wayside. It's up from Gray on Georgia 11, 6 miles northwest of Gray. Do you know what its first name was? Lousy Level. Now, who would want to live in Lousy Level? After that, they changed it to Black Ankle, which is not a whole lot better. When the Central of Georgia Railroad came through in the 1880s, a more attractive name was desired, so the present one was adopted, Wayside. You can have hours of enjoyment by reading this book and referring to this book, Georgia Place Names. Oh, and by the way, it is available in the Georgia public libraries all over the state. And so you can check one out when we open back up, but you don't have to wait until then, because you can get right on your computer and type in Ken Krakow Georgia Place Names, and it will come up. And then you can enjoy finding out about the origin of Georgia Place Names. Thank you.